Picture this. You're hanging out in your living room and your 16-year-old comes to you and he says, "Dad, I was in an online gaming chat room and someone is sharing information about the Russian-Ukraine war. It's the weirdest thing in the world." Well, you know, it's not the weirdest thing in the world. We're going to talk about 22-year-old National Guardsman Jack Teixeira, who decided to drop highly classified Pentagon secrets about the Ukraine war into a gaming chat room. I'm Joe Daly, and welcome back to the Daily Threat Report. Today, we're looking at what prosecutors call one of the most significant and consequential violations of the Espionage Act in American history in a gaming chat room. We're going to connect those two. To unpack how a single IT specialist bypassed secure facility rules with his smartphone and why he ultimately had to use a hammer to smash his iPad and computer hard drive in a desperate attempt to hide evidence. I am joined by Shawnee Delaney. Hello, Shawnee.
Hello again, Joe.
Yeah, Shawnee is a former intelligence operative and expert in espionage. And welcome to the show. Let's start with the motivation here because it is so unusual. The FBI noted that Teixeira grossly betrayed his country simply to boost his ego with his online friends. It's crazy. We also know from his defense team that he was isolated, he was autistic, he faced bullying in high school, he faced bullying in his military unit. So, not the typical person who betrays their country. From an intelligence perspective, how does this new era of social isolation and what they call clout chasing fundamentally change the way organizations view insider threat?
Yeah, it's a great question, and it's something that's made a lot of people kind of lose sleep at night, including myself, because we have to now apply this layer of analysis on social media and online gaming, and kind of how that's expanded the threat surface. Teixeira broke every profile that we thought we understood. He did not have a handler. There was no payment. There was no grand ideology. He simply wanted to impress anonymous strangers on Discord, like you mentioned. So you've got this 22-year-old young man who spent most of his time isolated online, like you mentioned, because he did feel bullied and he was alienated or felt alienated in his real life. And so he sought refuge, as a lot of people are doing now, in a small Discord server group of gun and military enthusiasts. This is really, really expanding a lot, and people kind of seeking refuge with these virtual environments. But he didn't sell these secrets to a foreign adversary. He shared them just to really be that big man on campus in this chat room and to impress these internet friends of his. That is a fundamentally different threat. And most programs are not built to see it. So, what we're dealing with is what I call the validation economy, right? For someone isolated and marginalized, and they have a TSSCI clearance, that becomes the most powerful thing that they own. The temptation is to leverage that for status, even anonymously. That temptation is something that we have never fully factored into human risk assessment before. And the piece that really makes people uncomfortable is that this loneliness is now a national security issue. This is an epidemic. When your most sensitive workforce feels more connected to anonymous online communities than their own colleagues or even their own mission, that is a huge vulnerability that no user activity monitoring can catch in time. So your insider threat program, it cannot be built solely around, financial indicators and foreign contacts anymore. That social isolation, the online dependency, the need for validation, these show up in the human layer long before they show up in a system alert. Think about all, likes. Everyone loves likes. So Teixeira, like I mentioned, he didn't need that foreign handler. He had an audience, and that truly was enough.
It's scary to think, in your online presence, you're always like, oh, you want to look cool, right? I mean, that's the whole problem with social media.
Everybody does.
But I never gave even a thought to a clearance looks pretty cool. Like you're dealing in things that other people can't know about. And so, yeah, this is, it kind of makes sense. Okay, to take a step back, there's the social media aspect, but I do want to talk about the physical security breakdown. He had a top secret clearance, um, but there's more there. He was able to bring his personal cell phone into a secure facility. That's how he got the data. That's how he took pictures. He was in restricted zones. Like how was he able to get a personal device into an area that you're typically not supposed to have personal devices?
So it's easier than I would like to think. Really, right? You've got people who accidentally wear maybe a health wearable or an Apple Watch or things that are connected to the internet. In restricted zones or SCIFs, electronic devices are strictly forbidden. And organizations, they usually rely on these lockers that are outside the door with a key. Put your stuff in before you go in that room. There's always a lot of signage everywhere. There is a general fundamental honor system that you're not going to bring your stuff in. But Teixeira, he really proves that honor system is broken. He was a cyber defense operations journeyman whose primary job was troubleshooting classified workstations. His superiors actually, they warned him on two separate occasions to stop taking notes and doing these deep dives into various intelligence. So for me personally, like, we call these red flags, right?
Yeah.
Despite those direct warnings, this guy simply walked his personal smartphone into the secure government facility, and then he photographed printouts of classified documents. So when in my mind, right, when your physical security, it relies entirely on people choosing to follow the rules, a single bad actor, or even someone having a bad day, can bypass it just by keeping their phone hidden in their pocket.
Okay, let's talk about the information to share a photograph. So he takes this information. He goes to his online gaming chat rooms. He uploads it to Discord. Like what happens after that?
Yeah, well, you have to think, right? Way back when, you have to think in the old days of espionage, a spy had to physically smuggle documents out, right? Uh, Go to the spy museum and you'll see like these cool devices and concealment devices. Paper is bulky. It's slow. It's hard to distribute at scale if you're going to share that information. But now you have smartphones, and a smartphone eliminates every single one of those friction points. It's so much easier to hide too. So it's simultaneously this high definition scanner and a storage device and a global distribution hub, and it conveniently fits in your pocket. And you can have a case that matches your outfit. It's a one stop shop. So the moment Teixeira photographed those documents and then uploaded them to Discord, he lost control of them forever, as did the US government. Within hours, you had these classified assessments of the Russia Ukraine conflict, and they were circulating on these pro Kremlin Telegram channels and military blogs. And these things were read by audiences all over the globe. So, this really is the new threat calculus, if you will. One device, one upload, one person with authorized access and really bad judgment. And what should have been a localized security failure became this geopolitical crisis before anyone even noticed that something was missing. So I think the bottom line is the perimeter used to be a fence and a badge reader. I know we've talked about this before in other episodes, but the most dangerous thing now in a sensitive, compartmented facility is the networked device in someone's pocket or on their finger or on their wrist, right? In
Mhm.
Teixeira's case, nobody stopped him from bringing it in.
So we know how important these devices are to the crime. I mean, and Teixeira realized it, right? Like he took a hammer to his iPad and his hard drive to hide the evidence.
As
Um,
one does, as one
yeah.
does. So.
Yes. So the devices were the weapon. So if policies and background checks aren't enough to stop someone from sneaking a phone in, like if the whole clearance screening process isn't enough because somebody's still going to bring in their phone in, uh, shouldn't devices move toward a more active physical detection methodology? I mean, what do they do? What's the best way to handle this?
Yeah, absolutely. So Teixeira's truly desperate attempt to smash his electronics with a hammer because he was scared of law enforcement in this investigation, it really does tell you everything that you need to know here. He knew that that hardware itself was the ultimate evidence. Background checks didn't stop him, though. Rules didn't stop him. If you want to truly protect sensitive information today, you have to remove that human compliance from the equation entirely. Organizations, they have to really focus on deploying active physical detection technology in their restricted zones.
Well, this is a stark warning to any organization handling sensitive data. You can trust people, you should probably verify. The Teixeira case proves that a simple smartphone in the wrong room can cause exceptionally grave damage to national security. Thank you, Shawnee, for joining us today.
Thank you.
And thank you, everyone, for listening. If you want to learn more about how to actively detect and neutralize unauthorized devices in your restricted facilities, visit our website, and please stay secure.